God is so faithful that he was faithful to us even before we existed. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 20 through 21 tell us he, speaking of Christ, indeed was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you who through him believe in God, who raised him from the dead and gave him glory, so that your faith and hope are in God. Before we were even created, before the first word of creation was breathed by God, God knew that our faith would need an anchor and that our hope would need a source. God's faithfulness is evident from the very beginning of time in the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve so soon turned away from God. God didn't throw up his hands in despair and throw away the project. In fact, God was not even taken by surprise, because Christ had been foreordained before the foundation of the world. As you follow the storyline of Scripture, God's faithfulness to a lost and needy human race is consistent and unchanging. The scripture behind one of our great hymns heralding the faithfulness of God comes out of the book of Lamentations, a book that's full of pain and sorrow and sadness. Just by reading the opening words of the book, you can tell that the theme is one of sorrow. How lonely sits the city that was full of people. How like a widow is she who was great among the nations. The princess among the provinces has become a slave. She weeps bitterly in the night. Her tears are on her cheeks. One translation introduces the book this way. Lamentations describes the funeral of a city. It is a tear-stained portrait of the once proud Jerusalem, now reduced to rubble by the invading Babylonian hordes. But in the midst of that sorrow, tucked away in chapter 3, verses 20 through 26, we read, "Through the Lord's mercies we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Sound familiar? The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. It is good that one should hope and wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. The God who showed his great faithfulness through all of Scripture is the same one true living God that we serve today. And his desire is that our faith and hope be in him. W.J. Henry wrote these song lyrics. "When I travel the pathway so rugged and steep, when I pass through the valley so dark and so deep, and when snares for my soul by my foes have been set, Jesus never has failed me yet. So I walk by his side through the heat of the day. Where he leads me, I follow. His will I obey. And he makes me to conquer the ills that beset, for he never has failed me yet. Then I'll dread not the future, and fear not the foe. I am safe in his keeping wherever I go. For no soul that has trusted him will he forget, for he never has failed me yet. He never has failed me yet. He never has failed me yet. I have proven him true. What he says he will do, for he never has failed me yet. Put your faith in God today. Lean hard on him. Don't be swayed by these hard times. God has always been faithful. He will always be faithful. It's his practice. It's his plan. It's his personality. In the words of another hymn writer, "The soul that on Jesus hath leaned for repose, I will not desert to his foes. That soul, though all hell should endeavor to shake, I'll never, no never forsake."